Okay. So welcome back
It's
to
right
a
up
little
ahead,
more Genshin Impact.
Let's make sure we weren't followed first.
I've been keeping watch, Demoiselle. I haven't spotted anyone suspicious thus far.
Huh, very good. But let's not let our guard down for now.
I shall find rooms for our respected guests.
Thank you, Malus. Now,
So it's been a really solid minute since I last did the Archon Quest for Fontaine. Again, it's funny because I did the Natlin story quest first before I did this one. Where am I supposed to go? Go to the accommodations. Navia arranged. Okay. And where? I feel like, oh, it's underground. Okay. But yeah, I finished the Natlin quest before I completed the Fontaine quest, which is really funny. Oh, and it's been about a year or so since I last worked on the Archon quest. I was so unmotivated, not because I was actually unmotivated. Well, I went through a lot, but basically.
So, this is your base?
I started the Archon quest, and then it got corrupted.
Your accommodations have been arranged.
And then I was like,
under the present circumstances, I can confidently
the
say
videos that
it's
I
the
do
best
have
we
or
have.
no? And then I was like, nah, I don't feel like it. Your accommodations have been arranged, and I can confidently say it's the best we have. Thanks.
well, our funds have been a little tight lately.
Thanks.
After all, we don't allow illegal or unethical
Unethical
profiteering.
profiteering.
In fact, our funds often come from citizenry who support us.
Seems like it's tough times for everyone. But if you have the support of the people, that does sound like it's worth it.
To be honest, our financial situation was a lot better back when my father was in charge a few years ago. I'm afraid I'm not quite his equal.
Your father... He was the previous boss of Spina di Rosula, right? How did he...
Demoiselle, if you'll allow me to explain...
No. I'll explain it myself. I suppose I couldn't run from this topic forever. And as partners, this is something I hope they can understand. My father's name is Callus. Yes, the same one they call Callus the Unfaithful in the streets. 3 years ago, he was accused of murdering his own friend.
Name, but okay.
But he chose a duel to defend his honor instead of standing trial. He died in the duelist's ring.
Oh no.
But I do not believe my father was a murderer. I'm sure he was set up.
Yep,
At the time, I believed that if he only stood trial and was duly investigated, something amiss would crop up and prove his innocence. But strangely, he not only requested the duel himself, but rumor has it that even after being seriously injured, to the point where he could be deemed as having lost the duel, he refused to surrender, determined to die in the arena. 3 years later, I still don't understand why he did that. How could he protect his honor if he's dead? If anything, he gave up his chance to defend himself. The closest piece of info I have is that my father had been investigating the serial disappearances case at the time of his death.
Oh my god.
Ah, so that's why you're so determined to get to the bottom of that case.
That's right. I've also tried to investigate the murder my father was implicated in. But I haven't found a single new clue in my countless reviews of the investigation records. However, I believe that if the murder case is related to those behind the disappearances, they must know something. I must know what really happened. Was my father coerced? Framed? Even if he really did kill his friend, I must get to the truth. If only he'd been more open with me when he was still alive. He even hid the fact that my mother died due to complications when giving birth to me. And now, here I am investigating his death. You really are a handful, aren't you, Papa?
Do you think that it's a good idea to like hide the truth?
Demoiselle, please. If there is anything I can do, anything at all.
I also will never believe that Master Callus murdered anyone. There are none whom I respect more than the two of you, Demoiselle. Master Callus did so much good in life, yet all it took was one murder case for him to be dubbed Callus the Unfaithful. Even our supporters decreased greatly due to that incident, hence our strained fight.
Wait, if Callus was such a good man...
No. Perhaps people just revel in that kind of drama. It's not something exclusive to people from Fontaine, really. Everyone's like that. People love watching the evil turn over a new leaf, but they also enjoy watching good people fall into an abyss from one slip-up just as much.
That is so true with cancel culture nowadays.
Never mind.
Everybody
If
just
Callus
wants to
was really
cancel
falsely
everybody.
accused, we have to find
There's
the
no
truth.
room for error.
He didn't deserve to have that happen to him.
Dangers of social media.
There is one other
Unless you're
thing.
rich like Elon Musk. then
Master
you can do
Callus's
Nazi sign
opponent
and
in the
get away
duel
with it.
was Ms. Clorand.
Chlorine. Chlorine.
Well, then, isn't that as good as saying that she was the one who killed him?
Then why don't we ask her what happened?
Yeah, that's not the sort of thing that you can just let go and move on
Yeah.
from.
But going back to what I was saying before,
Ms.
do you think it's a good
Clorand
idea to
has
hide the
always
truth
placed
to
great
protect
emphasis
someone?
on the honorable nature of the duel. If her opponent doesn't yield, she will not stop either. She knew Master Callus beforehand and greatly
Really
respected him, but
seeing
how he was resolute, there was only ever one.
It's not that I don't understand her at all,
I
but
can't just deal with this yet.
I just can't deal with this yet.
Pretty sure they end up being
Don't
friends
worry,
and making
Navia.
out.
Paimon knows how you feel. You don't have to force yourself to do that.
Afterward, Ms. Clorand told us that at the start of the duel, Master Callus requested that she ensure Demoiselle Navia's safety.
Okay.
Yes, that is our understanding.
Oh, Papa. What madness drove you to ask the person who killed... All right. Anyway, that's the information I wanted to share with you. Even if it did sound like I was just...
No, it's alright.
Thanks. You two
Oh,
should
thank
go and...
God we can rest.
Please, relax and get some sleep.
Yeah, so what I was saying before is that I completed the first part of the Archon Quest of Fontaine, but that video ended up... It's not that it got corrupted, it's that the audio of it really sucked,
So
and I was like echoing, and you guys wouldn't have wanted to watch
too
that.
safe.
So I ended up deleting it, even though it was pretty interesting because...
Where did the other two
Navia.
go?
Weren't we supposed to rest? Why are we talking to
I
this
sent
girl
them
again?
back to Poisson. It's Spina de
Poisson
Rosula's
fish.
place of origin, and where we have our headquarters. There's not much for them
Not
to do
much
here
for
at
me
the
to do
moment.
here at the moment.
Paimon gets the feeling that you're just trying to get them off your back.
Yeah, that's
Never
exactly
mind
it.
that. When did you get back? Were you waiting here the whole time?
No, I just returned after going out for a while. I did some investigating yesterday
Oh,
regarding
right.
the name Vacher.
After she's done talking, I'll
so you didn't
recap
sleep at
everything
all?
that happened.
How could I
How
after
could
having
I
such
after
critical
such
new
critical
evidence appear?
evidence appear?
Guess Paimon wasn't speaking for everyone just now.
Unfortunately, this name seems to have been wiped from existence. It doesn't seem to have a match anywhere. I suspect that those behind this have already taken steps to hinder an investigation from this angle. But that does prove that this Vacher person is a key
Is a
witness
key
in the
witness
incident.
Does that mean...
No. There is one ray of
One
hope.
ray of hope.
One place in Fontaine that they would find almost impossible to threaten, no matter how much they wanted to.
Like underwater.
And that is the archives kept by Chief Justice
Chief
Navia,
Justice Navia.
a place where detailed files on all the cases in recent years are kept. If the Oceanid you met is one of the young women who went missing recently,
Oceanid? I thought
we
I've
should
been
be
saying
able to find
Oceanid.
some related information there.
So Nervalette maintains an archive of case files?
Case files?
Whew. Guess that's... In that case, let's go...
No, it...
Let's go see the Chief Justice. Okay, great. Now she's done talking. So I can talk while we're going to the Palais. So basically what happened is we arrived in Fontaine.
Palais is right up ahead. Come on.
We arrived in Fontaine. Farina rolled out the red carpet for us. We almost got busted, and then turns out we didn't get busted because there was a because Linny tied a string to Paimon, so technically she was like a balloon. Because Fontaine doesn't allow unidentified floating objects, and then we went to the opera, saw his performance. Somebody died,
Halt!
but then
Please
we found
state
out
your
that
business here. The
that
Chief
the killer
Justice
was,
is presently occupied with
that
official matters.
they were using water to make people disappear, but the girl
This place
ended up
does look pretty
who was
heavily
supposed
guarded.
to disappear was actually
Guess
from
that proves that
Mondstadt, and it didn't
Nervalet's
work
files
against her.
are really secure.
Hey,
Nervalet's files
don't
are
you
super
recognize
secure.
us?
Don't you recognize us? Okay.
Huh? Who are you?
Oh, right, these ugly
Just
things.
to be
smelly
clear,
zines.
I don't care who you are or who you might be related to. Our rules make no exceptions.
Bro, I saved like 4
See?
or 5 nations
They've
by
got
this
great
point.
discipline, too.
Yep. Paimon can
4
tell.
nations at this point, yes. At this point in the story, 4.
If you're here just to crack jokes, I can point you towards the exit. Unlike some,
What a
we're
Karen.
busy, so please leave if you don't have a reason to be here.
She's ugly and
No,
sassy.
no.
I hate
What
her
I meant to
already.
say is, shouldn't you remember us from a few days ago? We were at the trial of the great magician Linny.
I'm the hero of Teyvat.
yes,
I saved
remember.
half of the
I read
nation.
about it in the Steambird. You must be Linny's attorneys. It's all coming back to me now.
About time, and put on some pants,
We're here
girly.
today to report and archive some information on a follow-up case.
Huh. Is that even a thing?
Of course.
You know
Don't
nothing.
worry. We're here on official business. You can trust us.
All right then, I'll let you through. The Chief Justice is just inside.
Yeah, you
Thanks
better.
so
Oh, it's so sassy. I hate know-it-alls who kind of like, who act like they know everything, but knock on the door. Let us in.
Please come in.
Oh wow, that's fancy. We don't just teleport in, we have to knock first. It's like France. French mannerisms. Knock first. Funny, that doesn't apply in any other nation.
Sorry,
but-
Jim, Monsieur Nervalet. We only lied to get in because we didn't know any other way.
Why would we be honest
It's
about
all
that?
right.
We should have just blamed that
Please
other
let me know
Melusine
how I
and
may
been
be of
like, oh, he
assistance to
wasn't
you."
doing his job correctly, fire him.
We are looking for a man called
You're
Vacher.
super rude.
He may have been an
Vacher,
eyewitness
right.
in the serial disappearances case. If we
find
can
him.
find him, we may be able to unearth some key information on the case.
Right, so when we got close to the fountain outside of that opera epic place,
Ah,
there was
I
a voice
see.
saying Vacher.
In that case, please wait here a moment
we were
while I
trying to
browse through the
find-
files.
Some information on them. Please wait while I browse the files. Okay, and then after we left the opera epic place, we were attacked by a bunch of robots that are called like
Who knew that
Gardamex.
Nervalet would
And
be
then
so easy
I
to
think we were
talk
saved
to?
by Clorinde, but it's been so long I hardly remember. But yeah, that's and then we and then we started off with the quest in this episode with the with
Unfortunately,
Navia. So that's where we're at.
I'm quite certain that no one by the name of Vacher has been involved in any case, criminal or civil, in the past several years.
Can we like do the last like 500 years or something?
There are no
'Cause that's
records
what-
of him either
that's
in the
when things went to
files
shit.
or in my memory.
Well, guess that's
Traveler,
that.
what if it was really just a dream?
Oh, it's never a
Is
dream.
that so?
It's real.
All right then. Thank you so much, Monsieur Neuvillette. We'll take our leave now.
Ahem.
Do you want payment or something? Like, what?
Miss Navia, I can understand how you feel.
You
Your
don't know
father,
nothing.
Callus, was a truly exceptional man. We deeply regret his passing.
Okay.
And what are you trying to say, Monsieur Neuvillette?
Why would you dredge
Are you
that
trying to
up?
console me? Extend your sympathy? Or just
just
express some tendril of regret? No. You are not trying to do any of that. I can hear it in your voice. There's no emotion behind your words. You only said those things because you felt like you should.
Like, what do you want people to say in that situation?
It's just like last time.
Sorry,
After
I'll
my
wait for her to
father took
finish.
his place in the duelist ring, I pushed through the guards to talk to you as a last resort. You even told me then that you thought there was something fishy with the case, yet you still allowed the duel to go ahead. In your eyes, the value of a human life is nothing compared to those cold laws you hold so dear. If you truly regret my father's death, Then why didn't you call a stop to the duel?
Well, that's his regret.
Why
He
didn't
regrets
you
not calling
give me
a
the
stop
power to
it.
stop him from throwing his life away? Why did you just let him die, despised and hated by all?
Mm-hmm.
Everything
Wow, actual
was
tears.
hanging on a thread at that
Sorry,
moment. Just the tiniest effort could have changed everything. There are still
It's
so
what
many
he
things I
wanted.
never got to tell him. So many questions he still owes me answers to.
Damn, I already love this
If
Archon
you
Quest
really
so much more
have
than
no
Natlan's.
heart, then just look me in the eyes.
Sorry, I'm
I,
playing nail
Navia,
I have dead skin.
will show you the true meaning of regret.
I'm sorry, Miss Navia.
You
You're
and
not
my father
sorry.
are truly alike. You keep all kinds of things in your heart and never say a word to anyone.
Secrets.
It's not so much that you can't feel, but that you would never express anything. Oh well. In any case, everyone already knows full well the apathy of the Chief Justice. My apologies for taking my emotions out on you, Monsieur Chief Justice. Let's go, Traveler and Paimon.
I mean, on the one hand, you have to give him effort for trying, but on the other hand, I don't know, it feels like this is... Like, it feels unfair that she's taking her anger out on him. Like, yeah, he could have done something, but so could everybody else.
Navia, are you okay?
Like, to put all that blame on him and not, like, her
I'm fine.
father. Well, I mean...
You're right. Wasn't it still sunny when we went into the building? And there shouldn't be any active trials today. How strange.
Wait, weather, rain. When wasn't it sunny when we went to the building and there shouldn't be any active trials? What does that have to do with the weather?
Now that I think of it, on the day my father was convicted of murder, it was also raining.
So how is that
What is
related?
it?
Rain?
Did you think of something?
It's the water. It knows something. Your father, was he outside when it happened?
Yeah, he was outside.
He was outside.
It was uncovered and the rain could fall there. Why? Do you think the rain could have affected the crime scene?
Yes, it could have
That thought
washed
has
away the
occurred to us
evidence.
before. We've even expanded the search area to try to account for that, but didn't find anything of value.
But there's something you didn't know at the
Oh?
time.
Wait,
The fact that people can be turned
you
into
don't
water.
mean...
So you're saying
Oh, right.
that the true murderer
forgot
could have
about
been
that.
turned into water? And then got washed away with the rain?
Right?
Yeah. And if that's what had happened, then no one would have believed your dad, even if he explained what he saw to the authorities.
I really think I found a true genius for a partner.
Even I didn't figure
You're
that out.
completely
I
right.
was just
How
like,
did
how's
I
that
not
relevant?
connect the dots earlier? All right, let's go to Poisson. With this new lead in mind, we'll get to the bottom of my father's case for sh-
Yeah, we're gonna make progress for...
Do you want to go with me now? Or do you want to head over by...
Fine, let's
Great.
go.
Let's go.
We're gonna have, I mean, I don't want to have to walk there, that's the thing. And I'm probably gonna have to go there, I'm gonna have to go there anyways, so I might as well. And I can talk while I'm doing this.
Clear weather all around,
go to
brightens the
fish.
heart.
Oh my god, I completely lost track of the story quest and why we're doing all this. Like, we're helping her find out the case of her father, but how is that related to what we want to do in Fontaine? Like, we already saw the Archon, so we know she's not the mystery god who took our sister
What a
away.
huge ship!
So why are
would a
we even
ship
still
be
here?
anchored at a place like this?
There's no need to be so surprised. While it may look like a ship, it's actually Spina di Rosula's headquarters. My father was the one who asked for it to be built like this. Perhaps our taste in exterior design is the only thing we occasionally had in common. A gigantic and glamorous ship embodies discovery, opportunity, ambition, and conquest. It symbolizes Spina di Rosula's bright and limitless future.
I think I'm starting to get why you like it.
And Paimon thought you were bluffing when you said Spina di Rosula had a glorious past. Paimon was confused why a group with such a history would live in the sewers. But now that Paimon has seen this ship for herself, she's been convinced.
A lot of people running
Well,
NPCs.
Poisson is where Spina di Rosula began, after all. It's our main base, our home.
And it was in Fontaine that they introduced things like, what is it called? Local legends, I believe that's what they're called. So I fought one or two of them, and I killed them. I just don't remember which one it was. But yeah, I love that idea. Oh, I haven't done the local legends for that one yet. I'll have to go back and do that. Okay, and then I have to go into it. Ah, okay. So yeah, that was like how the quest. That's like what happened before this quest. I don't have videos of it, but yeah, we're starting off from
we're
here.
back.
Well, I have videos of like the trial. But nothing
Apologies
before
for the
trial,
wait,
when we
demoiselle,
first
and our most
entered
important partners. You said before that you still had some business at the court. What brings you back to Poisson so quickly?
About that.
His
It's because
voice
my
sounds so
partner here
fake.
reminded me of something really important. You see, what if my father's case had something to do with water from the primordial sea? You still remember, right, Balus? On that night, it was raining?
Yes, the case was quite similar to that of Mr. Linney's. Both were what you'd call impossible murders.
Could you tell us a bit more about what happened before?
Yeah, of course. Many years ago, something called synth began to gain popularity in Poisson.
Synth?
At a glance, it was a
Drink
kind
that
of
could
drink that could excite your mood and produce many pleasant hallucinations.
Oh, it's like drugs.
Wait! Didn't that guard guy who turned into water also mention that the primordial water could be used to produce some kind of potion?
Yes, he did. Considering what we know now, it's almost certain that synth is created using water from the primordial sea. If you drink synth for an extended amount of time, you'll suffer many side effects, such as losing the ability to focus or control your emotions. And if you were to stop drinking it completely, you'll experience flashes of paranoia and anxiety while lacking energy to do anything. It's an extremely dangerous substance. As he oversaw Poisson, my father was compelled to put a stop to synth abuse and called for a complete ban of it.
Boss's uncompromising attitude incurred the synth vendor's wrath, but no matter how much they threatened or bribed him, he refused to yield. Not only that, Boss became determined to find the mastermind behind the synth operation and put an end to the problem once and for all.
Yes, but the enemy was very cunning. So he could never get anything out of the dealers, all of whom only sold the stuff and weren't privy to the rest of the operation. Recognizing that, my father decided to contact the dealers in secret and cultivate personal relationships with them. Finally, he was able to convince someone to become his informant.
Okay, who's
The man's name was Jacques.
Jacques?
He felt greatly ashamed about his work after seeing many families destroyed by synth abuse. That night, my father hosted a banquet at his countryside estate. He planned to meet up and exchange information with Jacques over some food. But then, we heard 2 gunshots from the courtyard. We raced to the scene and found my father, still holding a gun, and Jacques, who was already dead on the ground.
Huh? How did that happen? Aren't they on the same side?
Sounds just like Lenny's case, doesn't it? In both cases, the culprit seemed obvious, but neither appeared to have any motive at all. Looking back on it, though, I now believe the most important clue was something we all overlooked at the time. There were pieces of clothing left at the scene.
They could have belonged to someone who got dissolved.
Precisely. It's all thanks to you that I made the connection now. Back then, we all just thought they were some costumes that Jacques used to disguise himself at the banquet. But, considering it now, it's almost certain that they belong to a third person at the scene. With one extra person, we'll also need to reconsider why the 2 shots were fired.
Maybe your father it's also possible that maybe your father got into an argument
You're
with
right.
Jacques.
We still don't know what happened. But my intuition tells me that we're on the right track to figuring it all out. I'm finally headed towards the truth.
Jacques was an empathetic man who was infinitely remorseful for his past actions.
So much chatter.
It's unlikely that he turned on Boss with zero warning. I think this third person is probably the key to the full. On that note, however, even though this will not please you, demoiselle, as your and your father's butler, I must still offer a word of warning.
Yeah, dredging up the past can be kind of dangerous.
Our opponent is insidious and cruel. They
Yeah.
are extremely difficult to deal with, and Boss has already lost his life trying to bring them to justice. Even though Spina
they'll put
de
her in
Rosula
harm's
has
way.
lost most of its former glory, Poisson has welcomed a new time of peace, and we have been allowed to live out our lives. There is no need to follow your father's path. It would be both wise and in line with Boss's wishes to step back and give up on the case.
It might be him.
If that's indeed what he wished for,
If I was the
Then he
killer,
should have told
if
me
I
that
was that
himself.
third person, I'd do the exact same thing. I'd pretend as if I was really close, and then I'd be like,
was I not the
"Oh,
closest
you should
person
just give
to
up
him?
on the case. Have a
And
drink.
yet
Have
I
some sin."
was the one most kept in the dark. What was the point of him dying without sharing any of the secrets he knew? Did he manage to protect anything in the end? Synth is still here. Callus the Unfaithful is still his epithet. And Spina di Rosula is barely getting by. Nothing has changed. Did he think I'd just accept his meaningless death and live out my life just as meaninglessly? I've never accepted that. Ever. Not since that day, and certainly not now. I want to find out the real answer for everyone's sake. For the missing girls, for the victims,
and for myself.
and
Navia.
This is indeed the best
crazy-
moment to act. Your partner appears to be quite reliable, and more importantly, demoiselle, I think you're also ready to take this on.
Wouldn't it be a crazy twist
So
if
you
her dad
do
was
know
actually
something
still
else,
alive, but
Maloose.
didn't want to like?
Yes, I do.
I knew he was
In
hiding
fact,
something.
even before that banquet, Boss already knew of the connection between Synth and the serial disappearances case. But what drove all the tensions to the boiling point was the revelation that you, demoiselle, had been selected as the next target to disappear.
what?
Boss also didn't tell you that he had been diagnosed with a rare
A lot of
illness.
lies going on.
The doctors told him that he had no more than 5 years left to live.
What I think happened is, given this information,
And the serial
he made a
disappearances
deal.
case caused him great anxiety.
He must have made a deal or something to ensure.
5 years was nowhere
Like,
near enough time
he
to resolve
purposefully
this
went into the
long-standing
battle,
conflict.
lost.
But once he
because
passed
he wanted to
away,
get something out of
all
it.
the danger would pass on to you. Knowing all of this, he decided to use one final intimidation tactic before his death. He claimed to have already gotten his hands on some key incriminating evidence for the other side, and even told some members of Spina de Rosula about the details. But as long as you remained safe, he would not share the evidence with the public. If something were to happen to you, then he and all those he told would immediately expose all they knew about Synth and the disappeared victims.
Why don't they?
Right. So nobody would be able to get off.
As we've seen, Boss's tactic has worked. Even though Boss has been gone for a long time, the other side has not tried to take Demoiselle's life.
No,
She can protect
I don't
herself.
believe it. He never appeared to look sick.
No father wants their daughter to see them weak and haggard, especially someone as proud as Boss. To him, dying in a duel and suffering lasting dishonor as the unfaithful were still far preferable.
So he chose to die in silence, so that he could protect me.
Isn't that obvious?
I'm afraid you're not understanding this correctly, demoiselle. What Boss wanted to hand to you was not a parasol, but a sword. If Boss's spirit could hear you telling me that you want to find the answer for the sake of everyone involved, I'm sure he'd be extremely proud.
That fool. Couldn't he have just given it to me straight? No. He might have set up
I don't
everything
know.
precisely because
You seem
he
like the kind
never
of person
thought
to blow up
I'd
over
be able to
nothing.
understand him.
He never thought of that.
Is that the amount of confidence he had in me? And what if I was never able to make it to where I am now?
He gave you the choice to live how you
Yeah.
wanted.
I suppose that's true. With the way he'd set things up, if I had wanted, I could have just lived out my life without a care in the world. But thankfully, he rarely talked to me about complex matters, and thus understood little of me as a person.
Oh my god.
In this case, he really didn't need to give me an easy way out. Malus, what was the key evidence that he shared with you?
It's the location where synth is produced. Essentially, it's the enemy's headquarters.
Oh my god, and she
When
never
he was
bothered.
threatening the enemy,
Well, she
boss
didn't know
didn't
about it.
share the specifics of the incriminating evidence he found. But
Well,
if you want to use it
If you
against
know
the
the
enemy,
location, give it to
you'll
us.
still have to take several things into consideration.
Why?
is-
If we know where the place is, can't we just go storming in?
I know, right? We do that literally
You
all the
mustn't
time.
forget that we're fighting against a mysterious and dangerous organization that's been in operation for decades.
Dude, we've been doing that with the Abyss and the Fatui.
There's no telling what might be lying in wait at their headquarters. We also have no idea what kind of evidence we may be able to find inside, nor what people we may be able to capture.
Yes, we've been doing
But
that.
a single
since-
visit to their headquarters
since
would be
Monster.
tantamount to a formal declaration of war.
Yes.
The worst case would be that we leave empty-handed, but also open ourselves up to full retaliation.
I'd be okay with that.
In that case, why not work with the Fontaine authorities?
Well, you saw one of them dissolve during Mr. Linney's case. We have no idea just how thoroughly they may have been infiltrated.
That's true. Seems my father really had no choice. But things are different now. It should be a lot easier to prove the other side's guilt, now that we've connected Synth with the disappearances case.
You sound like you've put a lot of thought into this, Malus.
I am the butler, after all. I live but to serve the boss and Demoiselle's will.
The butler did it.
I've always been willing to take on any kind of risk for your sake. But considering my relative lack of ability...
Thank you for all of that, Malus. Have you discovered anything new in the past few years?
Let me think. One conclusion I came to was that the enemy must be quite familiar with Spina di Rosula, or at least have an informant planted here.
Okay, next question. Is it you?
When I announced orders to the organization's members
Or
on
the other
Demoiselle's
person
behalf,
who you're always with?
I used to deliberately keep a few people in the dark and observe the reactions of the synth vendors. If the vendors didn't change their plans, then the individuals informed of our orders must be innocent. If the vendors packed up and fled, however, then someone must have given them the news. After several rounds of testing and investigative tracing, I've narrowed the suspect list down to 3 people.
3 people.
The first is Florent,
Florent.
Spina di Rosula's senior advisor.
Florent?
Yes, surprising, isn't it? He was one of the people Boss trusted the most, which also means that he was someone who understood Boss really well. Thanks to his position within Boss's innermost circle, he always knew our upcoming plans and could thus avoid capture this whole time. There's someone else like him too. Marcel, the head of Confrérie of Cabrières.
Confrérie of Cabrières.
Uncle Marcel.
What is this confrérie?
It's a guild in Poisson. Boss helped it to grow to its current size and prominence. In the beginning, they were only reselling some daily goods, but now they're one of the richest guilds around, with a lot of business connections in the city.
So, they're like a...
Yes, you can say that.
Say that.
When we were fighting against the synth dealers, they provided us with plenty of support. It's a bit difficult to imagine someone using their own money to hunt down themselves.
The final suspect is Thierry, the man responsible for coordinating information between Spina di Rosula and the guards. Although the guards mostly leave us to our own devices, there are still many activities we have to report to the local authorities. Since Thierry is always in the know about our current activities, he could theoretically always plan one step ahead.
I see. These are all people who I communicate with quite regularly. To think that the enemy we've been fighting against has been right next to me all along, among those I trust the most. It's almost too hard to believe.
If you want to investigate them, please take every precaution to not alert the quarry. Judging from our experience, the enemy is extremely cautious.
Of course. And thank you.
You're too kind, my lady. And before I forget, proving Boss's innocence would also mean clearing him of blame in Jacques' death. After that incident, Jacques' wife and daughter were taken into the Spina's care. They still live in Poisson today. If it might help, you could also pay them a visit. I can make the necessary arrangements.
Aw, thank you so much, Melus. You really are the best.
The story wants us to
A new
think it's
case
the best,
awaits,
don't
my
we?
dear partner.
How can we know it's not?
I
How
hope
can
we can work together
we
to
rule?
uncover the...
3 years ago, on a rainy night, banquet goers heard 2 gunshots outside the house. When they reached the scene, Callus had a gun in his hands, and Jacques had been shot and slain. Based on the investigations done then, there was no possibility that anyone else could have done the deed and escaped, and Callus was judged to have been the culprit. Okay, how can we be so sure it isn't Melus? I mean, he's with the Spina de Rosula every single day. Visit the Jacques family. So if I understand this correctly, Jacques was a friend of Navia's father, and when he died,
It is settled then. Please
family-
excuse me
their family
and
was
enjoy
still
your
Catholic.
conversation at your leisure.
Thank you for arranging everything.
oh, I'm so
Excuse
tired.
me, miss. Do you need anything from us?
Oh my God, this lady looks exactly like the one in Natlin who tried to revive her daughter.
Hey, Navia's all quiet. This isn't like her at all.
I know, she's very chatty.
I'm sorry that I only came to visit after all this time. After what happened, I didn't know how I was supposed to face the two of you.
Ah, if it's about that, there's no need to apologize. After my husband died, Spina di Rosula sent us a lot of mora and support. I understood your guilt and apology to be genuine.
Corrali.
But aren't all of those things nothing compared to the loss of Jacques? I can understand the kind of pain that comes with losing a father so needlessly.
You don't understand at all.
Adele.
I didn't know how to face you, because I didn't know what I could possibly bring as a consolation gift.
Now she's in the same position she put Novelette in.
I know only the full truth could bring closure to you. And to all
You
of
don't
us.
understand anything.
I'm
So
sorry.
sassy.
I appreciate the sentiment, but you don't have to carry all that guilt. On the matter regarding my husband, my daughter and I have more or less found our answer already.
Your father murdered
Would
him.
you mind sharing it with me? I really can't believe that my father could ever bring himself to shoot Jacques.
I always knew that my husband's money was earned through others' suffering. He told me countless times that if he could turn back the clock, he would never go into the synth business again. He had many regrets, and felt that he took the idea of providing for his family too literally. For the longest time, he thought Mora was everything.
I know people like that.
So when Mr. Callis
Mora,
came
but
to
like
him with a
money.
proposal, he accepted it almost immediately. He tried to be as careful as he could, but even so, he was still found out by the higher-ups.
They found out about his betrayal?
Papa didn't say that exactly, but Papa did tell me that I should never be ungrateful.
Before he left that day, he told me that he had no choice. It was only later that I realized it was his final farewell to the two of us.
Ordered Jacques to take out
I don't
Callus.
know that for sure, but you could say that's the conclusion I eventually came to.
Can't believe Navia took that long to reach out.
Which is why I'm the
to
one
this
who should feel
family.
guilty. Callus had always taken great care of us, both when he was still alive and after he passed away. Even if he fired the shot that killed my husband, it was likely in self-defense.
Yeah, I don't
It is
think he shot the
impossible for me
gun.
to hate him for what he had done.
But Mama, why is Papa still the bad guy if he did the right thing? Papa always wanted to be a good man, so why did he have to do a bad thing in the end?
Because of you, little girl.
Well,
he wanted to take care of
Things
you.
aren't always as they seem. You still feel like your papa was a good man, right?
Yeah, Papa was a really good man. The best in the whole world.
Then you should hold on to that. If a good man had to do a bad thing, then he must have had his reasons.
Bitch! This girl, oh my gosh, she's like flip-flopping all over the place. Like her father, like
Regardless
a couple
of
of
whether
minutes
he
ago,
left you
she
a
learned her
parasol
father sacrificed
sword.
himself and did this horrible
He must
thing
have done
for
so
her, and
to
she was
give
like
you a
so
better
ungrateful.
life.
She was like, "Grr, how dare he?" Regardless, okay, well, and now she's saying the exact opposite. He must have done so to give you a better life. Yeah, that's what your dad did for you.
Thank you for everything you've told me.
You didn't take it that
will
well.
definitely find the truth.
Thank you. Even though your personality is quite different from your father's, your determination when you speak is really similar.
You really think that's the...
Wow. Testimony. He had struggled greatly with the order to kill Callus. It was no more than the incident. Huh. Florent. Oh right, this guy is one of the
Are you okay, Navia?
suspected traitors.
I'm fine. Don't worry. Let's investigate the 3 suspects next.
Yeah, but do you think
Laurent
that it's
should be nearby,
acceptable?
and we should be able to find Thierry and Uncle Marcel in the city.
Do you think it's
I'll
acceptable
get myself
to
together
lie
on
to
the way.
someone
So
to
please
protect
don't
them
worry.
from the truth? Like if somebody died and they like blamed like their family members for them committing suicide.
Greetings,
would
boss.
you tell them
How
that?
may I be of assistance today?
I'm sure you've heard about what happened at the Opera House. Someone got turned into water right in front of us.
What would happen if we drank them? Like,
Yeah, I've heard. With something that dramatic, I'm sure journalists will milk it for all it's worth. And it'll be all the talk for the next several weeks.
It also reminded me, on the day that the incident happened with my father, it was raining outside, and we found some clothes left at the scene.
Could the culprit have been
After my partner here
turned
put the
into
dots
water?
together for me, I feel like we should try to reopen his case. Can you do me a favor and try to recall what happened that night?
Let me think.
Callus
Mr. Callus was feeling
that day, so
pretty
he was
upbeat
drinking
that
and
day.
bantering.
So he was drinking and bantering away with. After that, he told us
Told
that
us
he
what
wanted to go get some
to
fresh
get some
air.
fresh air.
So we
So
let him
he
go without
without
thinking much of it. Who knew that we would hear 2 gunshots ring out right after? My first reaction was that Mr. Callus's life was in danger. So I grabbed my holster and made a mad dash toward the scene.
Holster, gun. Oh,
But when I got there,
it was already
too late.
Callus was
Mr.
standing
Callus
over
was
with a gun
standing
in
over a
his
dead
hands.
body with a gun in his hands. All we
Whose
could do
gun
was
was
look
it?
back and
Was it
forth
his?
at each other, not knowing what to say.
So you also remember 2 gunshots then?
Indeed. The
Who thought
guards
that the
said
first
that the
shot
first
didn't
shot
hit
didn't
anyone?
hit anyone.
While the
While the second
one
killed Jacques.
Jacques.
But I've never really bought that explanation.
Yeah, that sounds like BS. The first shot didn't hit anyone. Huh. So it went somewhere else. Could the bullets have been, the first bullet have been like a water bullet to like help someone escape or disappear or whatever, and the second bullet was like a real bullet to kill Jacques?
Reason being, Mr. Callus had left his gun on the table.
I even
made sure to confirm that before running to the scene. But according to the guards, that doesn't mean he couldn't have had other guns on his person.
So the gun didn't belong to him.
About the
Maybe
clothes
he
left at the scene
took
that you
the
mentioned,
gun from Jacques.
do you think there was a third person there who was turned into water?
Possibly. I mean, was Jacques naked?
At least from our perspective, my father had no reason to kill. So he would also have no reason to bring an extra gun with him. The gun he was holding probably belonged to Jacques.
Belonged to Jacques,
or a
the
third person on the scene.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So you're saying Mr. Callus ended up with the gun because he seized it from one of the other guys?
Probably.
But hold on.
That's where I'm at.
If that's what had happened, then why didn't he share the truth with any of us?
Well, because of the third person. He didn't want the third person to get caught. Because the third person was important.
He didn't even want to face the Oratrice machine. And chose instead to prove his honor in a duel.
Yeah, that's exactly what it sounds like. It sounds like he's trying to protect, like the third person was somebody he wanted to protect, and now and that's like, I mean,
did he lose all faith in the courts?
He doesn't want to, like,
after seeing someone dissolve right in front of his eyes?
About that,
he helped them escape.
Malus told me a thing or two. So, I think I can understand why he committed to the duel. I'll tell you everything, once the whole truth has been revealed.
I understand. And if I may just say one more thing. Many people have laughed at me for still calling him Mr. Callus. Even after so many years but it was Mr. Callus's trust that allowed me to rise through the ranks of Spina di Rosula. No matter what others might say. He'll always be the man I respect the most.
Don't worry. You and all our other
So far, I think I trust that guy. But, again, I don't know what happens. Like, I honestly don't. Like, I haven't read any spoilers. I don't know what's happening with her father. I don't know what happened.
Hey,
so
Thierry,
I'm clueless.
it's me.
Don't be like, hey.
Oh,
you obviously read spoilers.
What
or
brings you
whatever,
here, Miss Navia? I've heard that you made quite the name for yourself at the...
Oh, so you've got news of that already.
Oh, okay. Hey, I'm also a member of the guards, you know. The way you make it sound, people would think I was sent off to Poisson because...
Are you sure there isn't a little bit of truth in that? Under normal circumstances, shouldn't you have been called back to the city already?
I mean, where I work is really up to me. Let's just say I enjoy the ambiance of Poisson. Callus did a fantastic job running the town. Building Spina di Rosula from the ground up and clearing many obstructions in my way. It would be next to impossible for me to find a similarly easy but high-paying job in the city. Anyway, enough chit-chat. Are these two friends of yours? You, here for some formal business?
Yes. These two are my partners. What happened at the Opera House made us realize that Linny's case, and my father's, may be related. We're trying to reinvestigate the details of my father's old case.
Ah, I get it. You think there might be more to the case now that we know people can be dissolved into water, right? I was also flabbergasted when I first heard of it. If you want to go through the original files from your father's case, I can help you look for them.
That'd be much appreciated. Thank you. Actually, I have another question.
Of course. Without them, I couldn't possibly handle Poisson on my own.
Okay, well, we were attacked by Gardamex when we left the
Why
opera.
do you ask? We definitely can't use them to forcefully get more evidence for your father's case.
Okay, well, they attacked us.
You see, just recently, we were attacked by a horde of unnumbered Gardamex in the city.
What'd I say?
So, if you hypothetically wanted to do something against me, all you would need to do is get rid of the mecha serial numbers and send them after me.
Then you think too highly of my abilities. Dispatching mecha is very different from controlling them. If I had to make an analogy, when you order a dish, the chef will make it for you. You can ask the chef to cook, but not to massage your shoulders or carry your baggage. If you try to make unreasonable demands, the chef would just think you're out of your mind and ignore you completely. The same goes for me and my Gardamex.
That was a horrible
Removing
analogy.
a serial number is also not as easy as you might think. There are a lot of complex steps to it, and it's almost impossible to keep it a secret.
Okay, then can we look at the audit trail?
So I can
and
promise
see
you, those mecha were definitely private units.
Private units. Okay.
They're certainly not cheap. So, whoever their owner is must be super rich, powerful, or both. Now that you mention it, though, being in the synth business would definitely be profitable enough to afford this.
Oh, then you're officially in the clear, Thierry.
Oh, well, thank you for the vote of confidence, Navia. Jokes aside, I'll be staying in the city for a little.
Okay, so the guard. Theory is the person responsible for official contact between the Spina and the guards. According to him, only the rich can privately own large numbers of Gardamex. Okay, well, can't you just go to the Gardamex manufacturer and ask them who's been ordering like large amounts of Gardamex? So it's somebody. Oh, somebody tried to kill us.
Follow the wind.
But at that point in the quest, we hadn't really met that many people. It was literally at the beginning of the quest. We were locked inside the opera house.
Hello. How may I help you? I'm here to see Marcel. Could you please let him know? Sure. I will let
him know right away. So, the person responsible is
Navia,
rich.
hello. Sorry to keep you waiting. I'm not as young as I used to be, so my
This
legs
guy's the
are
culprit.
giving out a bit.
Oh, it's all right, Uncle Marcel. There's no need to stress.
I was just saying that because of his
I just
face
wanted to
and
talk
how
to
it
you briefly about what happened in the opera house. I'm sure you saw everything too, right?
I just have
Yes.
like I've met enough
never
guys
seen
who look
anything
like
so
this
strange.
who would betray me that I just don't trust any of them. Look at that mustache. I've never seen anything so strange.
You were at the
You were
opera
at the
house
opera
too?
house too. Oh, well, that explains why.
That's right.
Gardamex
I
were
went there with
attacking us.
Navia to see the magic show. Who knew it would turn into a whole murder mystery?
Murder mystery.
I also witnessed your marvelous sleuthing work. Quite impressive.
I was so confused.
To beat the Hydro Archon at her own game on her own turf, I can already imagine everyone in Fontaine discussing your exploits over a few glasses of wine.
Or synth.
Oh, Paimon doesn't want to become the talk of drunkards.
Apologies. It's just how
Everyone
Fontaine
loves
is as a
drama and
nation.
theatrics.
Everyone loves drama and theatrics.
Yeah, I can
Uncle
tell. You
Marcel,
guys talk for days.
you've also noticed that other thing, right? The fact that humans can dissolve in water?
Yes,
But
I
they
was
have to be
reminded
from
of your father's
Fontaine.
case right away. Is that what you're investigating?
Exactly. I still don't have much solid proof, but I can sense that the other side has already begun to act.
Oh, and what makes you say that?
We were attacked on Araneus by some unnumbered Gardamex. And
Araneus.
there was also an attempt to get me to drink water from the primordial sea.
There was?
If not for the vigilance of my partner, I probably wouldn't even be here talking to you right now.
Oh, you're giving us too much credit. Wasn't it you who protected us?
Alas, it seems things are heating up again. The peace that Callus sought so dearly will soon become a thing of the past.
Yeah, I think it's the butler.
But rest assured,
The
Navia,
butler did it.
Poisson will always remain a safe haven for you. If you're scared, you can always return there.
Let's return there.
If anyone dares to lay their hands on you there, the Confrérie of Cabrières will use its funds.
Thank you, Uncle Mars. Do you have any new thoughts on...
About that. The Confrérie was responsible for that banquet, so I was out and about the whole time making sure things were running smoothly. I didn't even have the time to drink with the guests. Then I heard the sound of a gunshot, and the rest was history.
One gunshot?
Oh, it's okay. No need to push yourself. We'll ask around some more. See if there are any valuable...
Sounds good. Just all my wealth comes from Callus's patronage and support. I'll spend however much it takes to clear his name.
All my wealth comes from Callus's patronage and support. He's rich. What evidence did he give? Leader of the Cabrières organizer of the banquet years prior. They have always maintained a close relationship. He's willing to defend Navia. Go over the clues with Navia. Where was the butler the day that all this went down? Huh. Okay, let's go over the clues.
We've talked to all 3 suspects.
None of them sounded particularly suspicious.
Agreed.
I suppose that's to be expected, though. If a single conversation's all that's needed to find them out, then my father wouldn't have needed to investigate anyway. Even though we didn't make a breakthrough, let's still compile what we were able to find.
Why don't we just match the clothes? Like, DNA swab the clothes and see who it belongs to.
Where should we start?
Jacques' murder.
Ah, you're right! Flora mentioned that Callus probably only ended up with the gun because of circumstance.
According to Jacques' family members, he already told them that he had been discovered, and that he had no choice before he left home that day. If I had to guess, he probably received an order from the synth boss to kill my father. Had he refused, he and his family's lives would have been forfeit.
So, Jacques fired the first shot?
If I was Jacques, I wouldn't have fired a shot at all.
Oh? And why is that?
Could he guarantee his safety after killing Callus?
Ooh, that's a good point. Jacques probably already knew that he was just being used as a tool for murder. And once he had completed his mission, he'd be of no more use to his boss.
Huh. So, what would make more sense from his perspective would be to turn his back on the Order and seek protection from my father.
From my father. Well, since I was the one who derailed everything.
Makes sense. But without evidence, that's still just a theory. Besides Jacques, the attack from the Gardamex has been bothering me quite a bit as well. It's obvious that our enemy has become more antsy after the secret of the primordial seawater was revealed.
Do you think he
It's
knew
the butler.
even then that we'd follow this lead to the end?
Given everything that's happened since, but who among the 3 suspects would have the ability to control privately owned Gardamex?
It's the last guy. What was that last guy's name? Marcel.
Uncle Marcel?
He's the richest.
My father did really trust him.
I
And
think it's
they
the
worked
butler.
together on a large
The
number of
butler
projects.
was in the opera house with
Maybe
us
that's
and
how
was
he
able
got
to
to know Jacques.
poison us. And I mean, Marcel was there too, but
And with funds from the Confrérie, he could also afford a large number of Gardamex. It's still really hard for me to imagine, though. Also, wouldn't this mean he has been spending a whole lot of mora and energy to fight his own synth business?
someone else. I don't think it's either of them.
Florent? But Spina di Ros...
So you're saying he's...
Exactly. He can't. And even if he could, I don't think he would... Thierry, you say? But I didn't...
Yeah. Had he actually tampered with the mecha? If the mecha were taken from the guards, it should be pretty easy to find out when and how that happened.
That's exactly what I'm saying.
Who could
It's
it
the
be?
butler! I think. Oh my gosh, really? I have to do this? Okay, what am I supposed to do? Claimed that he was very grateful for his kindness. He was also present at the banquet on the day of the case, and that Callus did not carry a gun with him when he went out. So again, the gun belongs to someone else. Testimony irrelevant. Information from Thierry is the person responsible for contact between the Spina and the guards. Only the rich can own it. Marcel's the leader. Which of the 3 suspects was most likely to have committed the crime? Most likely? I mean... Marcel, right?
You know, if you think everything through, Uncle Marcel is indeed the most suspicious of them all.
Yeah.
Could we be missing other suspects?
We are.
Malus didn't know about the people turning into water thing when he narrowed it down to these 3, did he?
It's obviously
Malus has always been very reliable, and his judgment of others' trustworthiness has been fair and well considered. When he laid out his case for the 3, the rationale he gave me made a lot of sense as well.
No.
The suspect is knowledgeable about the Spina's internal affairs,
The butler?
has the means to dispatch Mecha to assassinate us,
Butler.
And possesses significant intellect and foresight.
Butler.
Even if I don't want to believe it, I'm starting to see how things could all tie
Just
back to
someone
Uncle
who's very
Marcel.
close to you after all.
We still have another trump card on top of all the theorizing and speculating.
I mean, the Butler's been very close to the Spina.
Yes. Malus did say that charging straight in there would be extremely risky. But we don't have any other options right now. We need far more solid proof before we can hope to go charging in.
Navia, here you are. Oh, I've been looking for you.
Huh? Aren't you the guy?
Yeah. News came from Irenaeus just after you left. We've got another trial on our hands.
Wasn't that place built specifically for holding trials? What's so newsworthy about this one?
I know. But they said the person they're putting on trial is a Fatui harbinger called Tartaglia.
Tartaglia? Child?
What? Is that someone you know?
Yeah.
Fatui harbinger.
We know him.
Oh, right.
Maybe even a little
As
too
part
well.
of- Yeah, he gave us his vision.
Well,
we still have it. I've been
He's
holding
been
on to
accused
it
of being
for
the
freaking
true
years.
culprit behind the serial disappearances case.
Disappearances case.
It's absurd, don't you think?
It is, because I have his vision. He
Wait,
can't use
how?
water.
None of our investigations have had anything to do with him.
That's what I thought was strange about it, so I came to tell you the news right away. If the charge against him stands, then it'll be next to impossible to get the guards to support any of our planned investigations.
Oh, right, because they'll
Right,
pin the blame on
because
him.
they'll think they've already found the culprit.
Yeah, so there's
Yeah.
no work needs to be done.
And it'll be a lot harder then to clear Mr. Callus's name.
See, this is why I trust you, Theory.
I understand.
I already know who it is.
Huh? Split up? What do you mean?
You can go to Irenaeus, I'll go to investigate that place.
Just since this is a trial about the serial disappearances case, the culprit's attention will be focused on Irenaeus, leaving his home base. You're right. This is our best opportunity. All right then, let's do this. I'll stall them at the Opera House and charge Marcel as the true culprit. I won't have any chance of making that charge stick, though, unless we find more evidence. It'll be up to you to make it back in time and hand the decisive evidence to me.
We'll help you, just like you helped us in Lenny's trial.
Demoiselle, please allow us to accompany you.
Dirtbags.
I'm ready.
I don't trust either of them.
Malus, Silver, when did you two get here?
We heard that you'll be leaving Poisson and figured that you might require our assistance.
That guy's evil. I swear. Well, maybe it's both
It's
of them.
our hope that your confidence will be bolstered with the two of us by your side.
Thank you so much.
See you then!
Combining the information, it would conclude that the only person who can run the synth business is none other than Marcel. Wonder if we could have picked anybody else, like Theory, or
Now that Navia has
whatever
set
the
out
other
for
guy's name is,
Irenaeus,
Florence.
we should also get going.
Where am I?
The location has already been marked on the map, so let's head over.
Okay, I'm going. Find the entrance to the headquarters. Oh, I have to go underwater.
According to Malus's info, the synth production base is underwater.
You can't
Let's go and try to
drown
find the
underwater,
entrance.
apparently. Wow, I forget how pretty it is. I forgot how pretty it is. It's been so long since I went to Fontaine. Well, I mean, I meant do quests and everything and actually go underwater in Fontaine. I was recently there in the past. What? God, I have to use the bathroom. Find the entrance to the HQ. There it is. I would have totally skipped over it. I was looking
Finally
off
found it! Huh. So this is the
Hydroculus.
entrance that leads to the synth production base. It sure doesn't seem out of the ordinary at all.
They wouldn't want it to stand out, so they have to go underwater
You're right.
each and every
An
time they
important
want to
place
go
like this
there.
is bound to have a ton of protective measures and mechanisms. Navia's probably arguing up a storm right now to stall for us.
Meanwhile, inside the Opera Epiclese. Oh, right. Tartaglia's trial.
It would appear that I must repeat my question again, Mr. Tartaglia. Do you
Okay,
accept
we're
the
back.
charge that you are the true
Went to
culprit
the
behind the
bathroom,
serial
had
disappearances case?
True culprit? He's not that cunning.
To be perfectly honest, I don't understand your country's complicated court system, or the reason why I'm being charged with something I've never even heard of. However, I did hear that people who have been charged can choose to participate in a duel to clear their name.
Oh,
Is that
dear
right?
God.
In which case, as long as I accept the charge, I can have an all-out fight with that champion duelist Clorend, right? I've got to admit, that's one of the most enticing offers I've ever received. When I privately sparred with her last time, she was obviously holding back. Real disappointing.
Ooh, for me
Hey,
and my wife.
don't you understand? You're currently the prime suspect for a major case. This isn't the place for you to be looking for fights.
Oh? Sounds like the Hydro Archon wants to lecture me on the ways of the Opera House. Then why don't you duel me too? I'm the kind of student that learns best in the heat of battle.
No. That's not what I meant.
She reminds me so much of Aqua from
Alas, it
Konosuba.
would appear that communication with the defendant is going poorly, and we have made
All
very
talk,
little
no
progress.
Bark. No bite. All bark, no bite. It would appear that communication. Okay.
In that case, let me explain everything from the very beginning again. The goal of this trial is to determine the culprit behind the serial disappearances case.
That case had nothing to do with him. You've got the wrong man.
Huh? What's going on? Why is she interjecting again?
I told you it couldn't be one of the Fatui Harbingers.
Don't people like drama?
Miss
Why are they
Navia,
annoyed
this
that
is the
she's coming
second
in
time
at
you've
11th
interrupted the
hour?
court proceedings. I only tolerated your behavior last time because you were able to provide the court with a key eyewitness. But that was an exception rather than standard court protocol. I can very well charge you with contempt of court for your interjections.
Oh, please. Did you ever think I had any respect for this place's pointless theatrics? We can put that discussion aside for now. I'm not here to argue with you. I'm here to charge the true culprit behind the serial disappearances case.
The butlers!
And if my charges prove true, then Tartaglia here will be proven innocent by default, correct?
Oh, a young lady has charged in and offered to clear my name. How fascinating. Well, I'd gotten half bored to death by all these rules and procedures anyway, so I'll take you up on that offer. So,
So
Your
nice to
Honor,
see him
is
again.
there nothing else for me to do now?
You may take a seat for now in the audience, but that doesn't mean the suspicions against you have been lifted. Now then, Miss Navia, who is the person you would like to charge instead?
My butler,
That
Milus.
person is...
That person is... When they reached the scene, Cal had a gun in his hand. Jacques had been shot and slain. Based on the investigations done, there was no possibility that anyone else could have done the deed. He was the culprit. Testimony from the family believes he had struggled greatly with the order to kill Callus. Did he act in self-defense? There was definitely more to it. Oh God! Florence claimed that he was very grateful to Callus for his kindness. He was present at the banquet on the day of the case and can provide evidence that Callus did not carry a gun with him when he went out. Information from theory is the prisoner. Okay. Sussex. I know that that's wrong, but I guess that's what we're going with.
Marcel, the head of Confrérie of Cabrières.
Huh? What confrérie? Never heard
Looks
of
like
them
Emily.
in my life.
I've heard of them, but weren't they Spina di Rosula's sister organization?
Oh, is this going to be a friends to enemies type situation?
Please let me remind you, Miss Navia, that charging someone is an incredibly serious matter. Committing to the charge also means taking on the legal responsibilities associated with it.
Yeah, we're so fucked.
And if the charge fails, depending on the circumstances, you may also be charged with the crime of making a false accusation.
You still wish to charge this
Yes, I do.
man? Didn't even give me
In
an
that
option,
case,
huh?
I declare the charge to be valid. Miss Navia and attorneys, please take your places on the court. Members of the guards, please contact Mr. Marcel right away so that he may stand trial.
Shocked and confused Marcel is brought to the stand. Does it matter who we
Mr.
pick?
Marcel, you will not require an attorney. Is that correct?
Apologies. It all just happened so quickly. I still haven't figured out what's going on.
He looks the most suspicious out of the three.
I think an attorney won't be necessary. This is probably just a misunderstanding between me and Navia.
Very well. In that case, since both...
I would like to take everyone back to 3 years ago, to the case of Callus the Unfaithful. Only through elucidating what really happened in that case can we connect all the dots for the serial disappearances case.
Navia, do you really think that I was the one who killed your father?
No, it wasn't.
Come on, why would I do that? Callus was my benefactor, and remember both you and I only ran to the scene when we heard the sound of a gun. If that's enough to make me a suspect...
I think there's no point in getting into the specifics right now. The audience doesn't even have the big picture yet. Even I'm struggling to remember some details of that case.
I know, right? So boring.
Exactly correct, Your Honor. I must refresh everyone's memory about that case before I can explain my charge and reasoning.
I see. In which case, I will recount the findings about that case as originally recorded by Maison Gardiennage.
Begin refutation.
On the day of the murder, Spina di Rosula hosted a large banquet in a countryside estate owned by the Confrérie of Cabrières.
Yeah.
During the banquet, all attending guests heard 2 gunshots from the courtyard. When the guests arrived at the scene, they found the primary suspect, Callus, holding a gun, while his acquaintance, Jacques, lay dead from a gunshot wound. The guards' investigation did not recover any other firearms from the scene. As a result, they concluded that the suspect's first shot must have missed, while the second must have taken Jacques' life. The suspect did not dispute this conclusion, and also declined to defend himself in court.
What if the first
Instead,
shot hit Jacques?
he chose to prove his innocence through a duel.
And then the second shot was... Oh, it's so confusing.
Callus was defeated by champion duelist Clarand in the ensuing duel, and soon succumbed to the injuries. These are the known facts.
Whatever, we'll find out if I'm right.
The one with the motive to kill was Jacques,
This is Jacques,
not my father.
Jacques
And
still knew
even
he
so,
didn't pull the trigger.
In truth, the third person shot Jacques first, and was shot in turn by my father when my father seized the gun from him.
Something like that.
After that, the true culprit turned the third person into water, erasing all traces of him from the scene. Thank you for the summary, Your Honor. However, we should revisit the case now that we've gained new information about the abilities of water from the primordial sea.
Spina di Rosula was owned by the identified loopholes. The here's your grief. Cast did not carry the gold when he went out. Gardemax. As a moment of the incident. Clothing of an unknown person. Nope. 2 gunshots. Murdered. Had a motive to kill. Callus. It is now certain that Callus did not bring a gun. Third person. The first shot must have missed, while the second must have taken Jacques' life. So do not dispute the conclusion. 2 gunshots. Is none other. Something's not right. Callus did not carry a gun. So it was owned by the Confrérie de Cabrières. No, that's not something I need to argue. Her 2 gunshots, according to the investigation, Callus had a motive to kill murder. He didn't have any motive. This.
The testimony of the victim's family confirms that Jacques had thoughts of assassinating Callus when he set out for the banquet. However, unfortunately for Jacques, the true culprit had already considered this possibility and had sent out another assassin.
Assassin did bring gun with them. More with the details of the case not third person.
This assassin first shot Jacques, then turned to shoot Callus, only for Callus to wrestle the gun from him and kill him instead.
But then there was water involved.
A pile of clothing was found at the scene. The guards once believed they were used by Jacques as a costume to disguise himself. But since it was raining that day, the culprit was confident that they could use the rain to wash away all traces of their dissolved accomplice. Realizing this, the true culprit caused the hired assassin to dissolve into water, leading everyone to believe Callus was responsible for Jacques' murder. This is the true version of events.
There we go. I actually did a pretty decent, half-decent job, if I say so myself. How many tries would I have gone? Okay, successful refutation. So, now we know what happened.
Ah, so that's what happened. Wait, you're telling me something as dangerous as
Love
water
how
from the
pretty the
primordial
NPCs
sea has
are.
been used for all these years?
What a great theory. It also explains Callus's and Jacques' respective motives. I guess they didn't shoot each other after all.
Mr. Marcel, you are the one being charged with the crime. You should provide a...
Ah, but I think I agree with everything Navia just said. In fact, there was nothing in her speech that directly implicated me.
Then, may I ask some questions? In my opinion, we primarily need to determine two things. One, do you have the evidence to back up your claim?
I'm afraid not.
Boo! If you don't have any evidence, you should just go home.
Okay, this is where the travelers should burst through the doors with
I
the
may
evidence.
not have the evidence with me, but I know where I could go to collect it. If we look up the deserted clothes against a record of people who went missing around the same time, we should be able to find a match. Considering the serial disappearances case, the guards probably kept careful records of all missing persons from around that time, regardless of age or gender.
That makes sense to me. Monsieur Neuvillette.
Why do I feel like Farina's acting a little differently today?
Maybe she's scared of embarrassing herself again?
Alternatively, she's become more diligent after charging an innocent citizen in the last trial.
Oh, she doesn't want
My
us to find out
second
something.
question has to do with the ensuing duel.
She doesn't want to jump to
If the truth
conclusions
is
like she did
indeed
before.
as you described, then why didn't Mr. Callus explain himself in court? If he had testified that a person had been dissolved, he could have at
Because
least
the
mounted a
person
defense.
was somebody he cared about. It was.
I've thought about this too, and the answer is actually pretty simple. He felt there were things that were more important to him.
Or that.
The dissolving power of water from the primordial sea is an important secret for the true culprit of the serial disappearances case. My father could have exposed it for all to see. At that time, Spina di Rosula was in dire straits, and his reputation had already been shattered. He had no guarantee that going forward with the truth would allow the culprit to be brought to justice. What was certain, however, was that it would paint a gigantic target on my back.
Boss once told me that Demoiselle had already been selected as the next target of the serial disappearance.
What? If the secret had gotten out, the culprit would have fought an all-out war with Espina right there and then. I wouldn't have been the only one in danger. All of us would have stood to lose our lives. Of course, the guards might eventually figure out the truth of the matter and determine that we were in the right. But what good would that do? How can a hollow verdict protect anyone? Had this opera house ever given my father any kind of confidence in its brand of justice, Spina di Rosula would have had no reason to exist. But by staying silent, we retained the ability to deter our opponent. I was able to become Spina di Rosula's president, which made me harder to target, as well as giving me more time to grow and learn. And once I have figured out the truth and stepped up to the challenge, I will do what this opera house cannot, and restore my father's truth and honor back to him.
So, you mean to say, your father intended to die in the duelist's ring?
Yep, that's what I included.
Do you have any proof?
Of course. All you need is to ask his opponent, Clorand. I don't need your apology, your guilt, or your support from the shadows. But since he entrusted his will to you, Clorand, you should tell us the truth about his sacrifice.
So, during the duel, did you believe that Callus was intending to die?
She seems a lot more careful in this trial. She doesn't want to jump to conclusions like she did last time.
As a champion duelist, I've fought many battles and taken a countless number of dishonored lives. In my line of work, I've seen all kinds of people give their all for the faintest hope to continue living. Some were determined, others passionate, and some even manic and twisted. Just one look and I can tell if a duelist is hoping to live or if they're looking to die. I hereby swear on my name and honor as a champion duelist that Mr. Callus never intended to leave the ring alive.
It's a testimony. Is that a really good...
Since that's your testimony, I have no more questions. It appears there really are good grounds to reopen this case.
Is that really...
I concur.
It's testimony.
However, Miss Navia, you still have not explained the link between your father's case and the serial disappearances case.
Right? What she said was fascinating, but kind of beside the point.
Wait, weren't they just talking about the serial disappearances case?
I was wondering why time was like going so fast. So we apparently sprung forward an hour.
Of course, Your Honor.
Literally earlier today.
The two cases are connected via a matter of timing. In my father's case, the culprit intended to kill both Jacques and Callus. As a result, they planned to act after hearing 2 gunshots. And at the end of Linny's trial, the culprit also only dissolved the victim in front of everyone because they realized they were at risk of being identified. The culprit could only time their actions so precisely if they were already at the scene. Coincidentally, Marcel attended both the banquet and the trial.
So that's why you suspected me. Even after hearing your reasoning, I still can't help but find it a little preposterous. I'm used to it, though. You've always been an impulsive and sentimental child, Navia. It's one of your most endearing traits.
No need to appeal to pathos.
I won't try to refute your points one by one, but even if everything you just said was true, can you prove that I was the only person present at both events?
Didn't the guards keep track?
On top of that, does a person have to be physically present to control the timing? Can't someone remotely monitor the place?
Yeah, can't they just go in, use the water to get out? What's this? Oh, okay, no, I can't do anything with it.
I don't know what she can say to that.
I know that even with that, you might still think you can reduce the list of suspects with some further investigations, until I'm the only one left on the list. Alas, who won't feel at least a little hurt by an accusation of murder from a girl you see as your own daughter? But if I were to dismiss this completely, you'd also think I'm not being considerate of your feelings. Ah well, let Uncle Marcel teach you another lesson. Do you know what the biggest flaw in your reasoning is?
I suppose you're gonna tell me anyways.
It's timing. I'm a businessman by trade. From that standpoint, there's no reason for me to kidnap young women. It's a high-risk action with nothing to gain. In addition, I left my home in Snezhnaya when I was young to come to Poisson and work in some trade. My business only thrived when I received Callus's patronage. But the disappearances began before I ever stepped foot in Fontaine.
See,
I do apologize, demoiselle. This was my mistake.
Yeah, you're the culprit.
No, it's not your fault. I'm sure he had come prepared.
Is there anything else you'd like to say? Would you like to check the date of my first business license against the first known case of the serial disappearances?
Okay, well,
You could also take a look at my border entry records, or ask my friends and family when I left Snezhnaya for the first time. Could those records and testimonies do something to appease the unspeakable anguish in your heart?
Seems like she got the wrong guy. At this rate, Navia will be convicted for falsely...
I think you've done a superb job of dissecting your father's feelings as he neared the end of his life. But aren't you going against all of his wishes and expectations right now? He wished for you to become more rational, collected, and conscientious, instead of dwelling only on your own feelings. Once you've learned to be more considerate of others' feelings, and to stop rushing headlong into things, you'd have met most of his expectations.
This isn't just about me. And the biggest difference between me and the rest of the victims is that I still have the ability to search for the truth. While that same agency has long been taken from them. The people whose families were destroyed by synth abuse, the people who lost their loved ones to the serial disappearances, and the people who suffered tragic ends due to their sense of justice. Many people's images are flashing before my eyes. I'm sure some are coming to those of you in the audience as well. And whose is it a man named Vacher?
Huh.
Oh, so you do know that name.
I'm merely surprised you'd suddenly say the name of someone I've never even heard of.
I was waiting for you to say that.
What? A little while at the entrance to the synth production base. A little while earlier. Oh, right, now we're back to us. Proceed deeper in to investigate. Okay. Well, where am I going? Oh, I have to go.
Time to go.
What is this? Oh, a door party setup.
All hail!
So are we right about Marcel?
Wind and cloud.
I thought it was Butler.
Eat this!
What is this?
Whoa! The floor is going up!
Oh, so it is.
Is it because of this mechanism in the middle? That guy really prepared a lot of stuff for this place.
Oh my god, a chest. Oh, okay, wait, I have to take it. Otherwise I'll never be able to come back here. Hydro Sigil. Yay.
Paimon thinks we need to go up, but Paimon doesn't see a way. Let's take a look around. Maybe we'll find a hidden mechanism that'll show us the way up.
Hidden mechanism that'll show us the way up. I'm literally... I don't even know. Oh, what am I doing? I have Farina. I can just walk on water. I mean, this may be a domain or whatever, but I do have Farina, and she can walk on water. That's just... okay. So, is there anything I can attack? Or... oh wait, I can go... I can actually swim down. The water won't poison me. Oh, I forgot. How do I... give me your abilities. Wow. Okay. Let's start. Okay, it's turning the mechanism. We're good to go. I'm
the water level is rising. Now we can swim to the top.
Okay,
but
great.
This is still a ways away from where we need to go.
It is? Okay, well, then let's go to where we need to go. Let's go over here. I'm just looking for chests. Yeah, there's one.
Fallen leaves, adorn my... one with nature. Wind strider.
Access denied.
The wind knows me. Time to go.
Yeah, it's a chest. Okay, what's this? What's over here? Okay, you know what? Let's
Next on the agenda.
First. The water level's rising again. Wow, that's crazy. The guy has to do this every single time he wants to get inside the synth production base. He has to go swimming.
Let's go!
He has to go swimming, take a monster's abilities, knock down a wall, increase the water level. So much work. Okay, so... Oh, okay, we can walk on it. Whoops. Oh, yes, a chest. Give me all these chests. These guards. I don't trust it. Okay, maybe I can trust it. Good for a beating.
Birds come! One with nature.
Let the world collide! Shower me with praise!
Okay, and they got annihilated. Okay, great. And wow. A lot of work just to get here.
After all that, we finally made it to the innermost sanctum. Though, as expected, the mastermind isn't
He's
here.
being charged by Navia as we speak.
That's right.
Okay, let's get some evidence. Look for clues.
What's all this? Pink accessories, a hair tie, a necklace, even a makeup box.
There's a name too.
Paimon sees it too, but why are all these cute things labeled with different... Huh? You mean the girls from the serial disappearances? They were brought here? And then they were turned into water. And all the boxes of things. These names.
It's all their clothes. They will own them within time. It's also something to do with the victims. This is proof that this was their final stop. So this is where they ended up. So wait a minute. If they ended up becoming water, weren't we just swimming through them?
There's so much synth here. And so many bottles of ingredients that probably just contain the waters of the primordial sea. Mixing in progress. Ready to drink? Stock sample? Huh. They've also got all the synth pretty clearly labeled.
Oh my god, I just realized something. Marcel is from Snezhnaya. He could not have used the water on himself, so he can't be the culprit.
Whoa! There's even fruit-flavored synth?
Well, that proves that this is where they produce synth.
Yep!
Potion, I guess the drink are pleasant for a short time. Producer uses these characteristics to matches of profits. Okay. Yeah, so the culprit cannot be synth. Sorry, cannot be Marcel. That's what I'm saying.
Like
it has to be Nellis. It has to be the butler. Like the butler was there.
Experiment number 16 aims to verify Jacob Ingold's research conclusions on the primordial sea and use his theory as a foundation to achieve a breakthrough. The experiment was a failure. No individual managed to resurface from the water from the primordial sea. Female specimen.
Paimon.
Sorry, traveler. Paimon will try her best. It's just that Paimon's never read something so scary before. How can someone write something that terrible and you read the rest? Paimon's too scared to keep going.
Oh, okay. I guess that's Okay, the goal of the researcher is to see if his lover, a woman called Vignir, who was dissolved.
So that's why he did all of these experiments. Wait, did he really think he'd be able to find a way just by dissolving people over and over? That's just insane!
Vacher.
Huh? Isn't that the name you heard by the fountain? Paimon thought he was an eyewitness in the serial disappearances case.
He's the researcher.
You mean Vacher is the one who did all of these... experiments?
Oh, okay, so when we were at the fountain, he signed off on... The voice I heard from the fountain was probably Vignir. Yeah,
So
that's what I was
that's
gonna
it.
say.
Vacher was no victim, but personally took his lover. No, that's not it either. If that's the case, why would he want people to resurface from the water?
More to this than this.
In any case...
I'm gonna write it down. Okay, so again, here's my theory regarding Fontaine. Because their biggest problem was they were saying that, you know, there was like going to be like a whole bunch of water flooding all of Fontaine, and like the Hydro Archon would be the only one left.
Navia's father.
So I'm thinking the water is
to be an
the
investigation
people will
report
turn
on
into
him.
water, and then finding someone.
It's about finding
Yeah, so all the
someone to
people, all the
assassinate
citizens will
Jacques
turn
and
into water, and then
because of a
Karina will
lack
be
of
left all
confidence
alone.
that Jacques himself would go through with it.
It's about finding someone to assassinate Jacques and Callus because of a lack of confidence.
This should prove the existence of the third person, right?
So they hired a third person.
We still have not determined the exact content of the key information Callus has passed on to certain members of his organization. The old dog's a real menace to deal with. Even if he abides by he can act whenever he wants to make our lives miserable. I concur. Let's send someone to kill him. He won't declare war as long as we don't touch Navia. Oh, seems like we've got a bunch of correspondence between the higher-ups.
It was the butler. They planned this well in advance.
They're all just so...
It was the butler. The butler planned all of it. Examine the pool.
Oh, look! There's an important-looking basin over here. And it's full of water.
Must be water from the
That
primordial
means
sea.
this is where they make all the synth. If you dilute it with normal water, you'll get synth. But the pure stuff can dissolve a human. Paimon will take notes on this and...
Okay, is that enough evidence?
We've looked at almost everything here, and it seems like our theories were
Who
spot
really is
on.
Vacher?
Yeah, we haven't found anything that reveals it. No wonder even Nervalette wasn't able to find anything. Whoever it is probably destroyed everything to do with that name a long time ago. That way, even if we bring all this back to the opera, we won't be able to identify the true culprit.
Maybe not clever. Let's
Sure
look again.
thing.
Look for clues related to Vacher. Okay, what other clues?
You take that side and Paimon...
Like I thought we already looked for everything. Okay, well, this is different.
Nothing at all. And
Okay,
Paimon
Fluffy.
can't even find
Nice to know you're
snacks
finding one's
either.
human. I feel like her voice is getting higher and higher.
Whoa, really? Let Paimon see.
With each
Vignir.
Archon Quest.
Isn't that Vacher's lover's name?
Correct.
Then you've... Aw. It's just a normal diary.
Take a look at
chronicling
this
their-
page. What does that say?
So many! A whole page's worth! But they're all crossed out. Was she unhappy with all of them? The final name she decided... Marcel!
Marcel.
Wait, but Marcel's pretty old. Has this case been going on for so long that he's Vacher and Vignier's grown son?
I figured it out.
Hey! Paimon still hasn't figured it out yet.
And she records many stories of her time with her lover Vacher. She prepared many names for their future child, and the name she settled on in the end was Marcel. Ah, okay, so it wasn't Marcel. You race back to the opera epic class. And now we're back to the present.
And whose image do you see, Marcel? Is it a man named Vacher?
Vacher.
Oh, so you do know that name.
I've Merely surprised you'd suddenly say the name of someone I've never even heard of.
I was waiting for you to say that.
Navia! We're back!
As expected of my partner.
People
I
need to
just
stop
knew
barging
you'd
into the
return in
court.
the nick of time.
Just how often do you intend to flout the
I knew he
rules
was
of this
gonna say
court?
It's all right, Monsieur Neuvillette. Given their confidence, I expect they've found the crucial evidence.
Yes, I have. You say that you've never heard of Vacher, but this diary... This diary proves as much. Proves
But
that
the
you're
truth
lying.
of it, Marcel,
Oh my God, he's talking!
is that you've always been Vacher.
Huh?
We've investigated your lair and we already know everything! After your lover, Vacher, was dissolved, you kept abducting young women to experiment on the hopes of bringing her back to you! You even created Marcel as a new identity and destroyed all records of your past as Vacher!
So that's it. Even the villains in opera performances rarely go that far. And with that, Marcel's motive has now been established.
This information regarding your past also dismantles your prior timing defense. Well, Marcel, do you know where you went wrong? You fixated your gaze on the lover that passed away, instead of paying attention to the living people around you. So, you never noticed how we changed, or how we grew as individuals.
You also never understood Boss's real expectations.
Oh, sorry,
for
I
his
accused
daughter.
you, Melis.
For our determination to see things...
Your determination.
Mr. Marcel, please speak up now if you would like to defend yourself. Otherwise, the trial will move on to the next stage.
Do you really think I wanted to do any of this?
Yes.
Pay attention to you. What for? Have you ever paid attention to me? Ever empathized with my pain? Ever known how it feels to watch the love of your life dissolve right in front of your eyes? No one helped me. No one even believed me. All those decades ago, even the officers from the Maison Gardiennage were laughing at me. They said there's no way a human being can turn into water. So I must have gone mad from grief. Vigner's death was brushed away by all of you as if it didn't matter at all. Well, now you know, don't you? Ha! Well, it's too late now. All those who were dissolved are gone forever. You only have yourselves to blame. You set up this ornate opera house in pursuit of your so-called justice. Your beloved drama, while turning a blind eye to the suffering of the people. Vigner is dead. We promised each other that we would always be together. Wherever she goes, I will follow.
And what did Jacques and...
But I'm not from this
Callus have to do
blasted
with it?
place. So I can't be dissolved. No matter what I do.
Ah. Is he drinking sin?
Is that water from the primordial sea that he's drinking?
I can't dissolve. Can't dissolve. Can't dissolve. Do you all see? I can't go. I can't follow. So if I can't go where she is, what choice do I have but to try to bring her back? I did all of that. And in the end, that accursed Callus still got the better of me. I spent my entire life living on pins and needles, only to get stabbed by his idiot daughter at the very end.
The suspect is exhibiting signs of mental distress. Guards, please restrain him.
Don't touch me! Don't anybody come near me. I still need to save Vigner. A promise. We made a promise. Vigner. Please, Vigner.
At this point, the verdict of this trial is clear. With Mr. Marcel's conviction, the charges against Mr. Tartaglia no longer have any basis.
He's been quiet
Fine
with this
by
whole
me.
thing.
I was in a bad mood, but after a show like that, I'm actually feeling pretty good.
Traveler,
Can't believe
please
this
submit
is
all the
exactly
evidence
one
you
of
have
the
collected to the
three.
guards, so that I might review and summarize the truth behind the serial disappearances case.
Can't believe that, like, they actually gave us the actual.
The man
culprit
now
as an
known as
option.
Marcel was originally named Vacher and worked as an adventurer with his partner and lover, Vacher. During an underwater expedition, Vacher accidentally came into contact with water from the primordial sea and was dissolved in front of Vacher as a result. Vacher learned of the primordial water's existence through the work of others and began to kidnap young women for research, with the goal of discovering a method to restore Vacher back to life. To cover his tracks, he invented the new alias of Marcel and began to operate a business in Poisson. During the course of his research, Vacher discovered that a diluted concoction of water from the primordial sea can induce feelings of euphoria, and began to manufacture and market synth. However, as he accumulated wealth to fund his continued research and expanded the scope, he came into conflict with Spina di Rosula. After exchanging blows with Spina di Rosula for many years, Vacher decided to assassinate their president, Callus, at a banquet. Although the assassination did not go as Vacher expected, he was able to turn Callus into the murder suspect by dissolving the assassin he sent to the scene. And just recently, Vacher attempted to frame Linny as the culprit of the serial disappearances case, using a similar method. However, his attempt to frame Linny failed, and the power of water from the primordial sea became public knowledge. This case also exposed enough of Vacher's machinations that he was eventually successfully charged in court. Thus concludes the enigmatic history of the serial disappearances case, with the truth revealed to all.
Yeah,
the Oratrice
drama.
will now deliver the final verdict regarding the charges against Mr. Vacher.
Please be death. Please be death. Death, death, death. Like, obviously he's guilty, right?
According to the judgment of the Oratrice Mécanique d'Analyse Cardinal, Mr. Vacher is...
Hold on
guilty.
a second. Oh, okay, I thought somebody would interject. Guilty.
Guards! Take Vacher away.
Good. It's what he deserves.
With that, the serial disappearances case is
over
now.
We really just witnessed history. Who would have thought the true culprit would be such a polite and well-spoken guy?
Polite? He was such a jerk.
Help Navia bring the bad
He's so
guy to
condescending.
justice! He's hurt so many innocent people and now he's fine. Huh? Are you okay?
Demoiselle, you were absolutely brilliant.
The day our late boss had always hoped for has finally come. You can rest easy.
Yeah. Yeah. It's finally over. It's all thanks to you guys. And my partner. See, Papa? Spina di Rosula's still doing well with me at the helm.
Well now, hasn't this been a most delicious piece of drama? The villain has been caught, justice has been served, past wrongs have been righted, and it's a big ol' happy ending.
You weren't happy,
Since it's been such a great show, I'll just let the false accusations against me slide. Either way, I've still got some business to attend to. So, if you'll...
Please wait just one moment, Mr. Tartaglia.
What now? None of
they're
this
gonna
has
fight.
anything to do with me.
According to court protocol, since this trial was initiated due to a charge against you, a verdict must also be made regarding the initial charge before the trial can conclude.
Oh, come on. Is this really necessary? Haven't you already caught the real criminal? Isn't it time for side characters like me to exit stage left?
Please respect the laws of Fontaine. This has always been the rule.
All right, but this sure is a lot of hassle.
Through evidence
Watch him
presented
be
in the
guilty.
public trial that was just held, it has been established that Mr. Tartaglia has no direct connection to the serial disappearances case. The guilty party has been identified, and thus it is logical to suppose Mr. Tartaglia is innocent of the charges.
However...
We now turn to the Oratrice Mécanique d'Analyse Cardinal to render the final verdict on the charges.
Oh, okay, it's gonna say he's guilty.
According to the judgment of the Oratrice Mécanique d'Analyse Cardinal, Mr. Tartaglia
That's what I think.
is
The Oratrice is like compromised.
guilty.
Hey! That's not funny! Didn't you just say I'm supposed to be innocent?
innocent.
What's with this verdict? Is your justice machine malfunctioning?
Huh? This has never happened before. The Oratrice actually returned a different verdict from the Chief Justice.
I mean, have you ever heard of an innocent Fatui Harbinger? Do you think the Oratrice might have just convicted him on general principle?
Let's kill him.
Weren't the charges about the serial disappearances case? No matter what else he's guilty of, it shouldn't affect the verdict in this case, right?
So, what is going
on?
on?
The judgment of the Oratrice Mécanique d'Analyse Cardinal is, by law, the final verdict of the court. We must accept the guilty verdict. Guards, please take the suspect into custody per court protocol.
Oh, dang, it's gonna go down!
So this is how justice is done in Fontaine. What a joke. You've got your rules. Well, I've got mine too!
Yeah. What?
I am sorry. If you have been wronged, we will find the truth. But the rules of the court must be upheld.
He made short work of it.
Hey, Monsieur Novelette, what's going on? Shouldn't they have been cleared already?
Apologies. This is also the first time I've encountered such a situation. However, according to the rules established at the conception of Fontaine's court system, the Oratrice's judgment is the final verdict of the court. All I do is follow court procedure. As for why the Oratrice arrived at the conclusion it did, you should probably ask someone more knowledgeable than me.
Is there anybody more knowledgeable than you?
Why are you looking at me? I had nothing to do with it! I don't know what happened there either. Hey, stop staring at me!
What does Lady Farina mean by that?
She says she has no idea either, but that's impossible. Didn't she create the Oratrice herself?
Oh, she did.
Yeah, so are the verdicts reliable or not? Can results like this really be called justice?
My dearest citizens,
did
you really think we'd allow an incorrect verdict to be handed out in this court? Did you really believe that the judgment could be mistaken or be the result of some sort of random mishap? Don't tell me you thought even I had been blindsided by the Oratrice's result.
But the way she looked just now, it was pretty obvious she had no idea what was going on.
However, given the state of things, I shall give you an explanation. Everything that just took place, including my supposed shock and bafflement, was a part of an elaborate performance, with every action meant to stir up drama and excitement. And, of course, for every performance, there is a script. Everything has unfolded exactly as I expected from the very beginning. As the embodiment of the very concept of justice, the Oratrice shall never render an arbitrary judgment! If you thought Child had nothing to do with the serial disappearances case, it is only because you've been blinded by the superficial appearance of innocence. Everything he's done, not to mention the danger he poses, are beyond ordinary comprehension and completely unforgivable!
Well, I mean, he is a
All
Fatui
shall be
Harbinger. I'm fine with this
revealed
outcome.
in time. you will come to understand my noble intentions, as well as the absolute correctness of the Oratrice's verdict. Now, having said that, although I hate to leave things hanging in suspense, it is now time for this performance to end. As the lead actress, I shall be the first to take my leave. Toodaloo!
So she chose to make her escape after all, did she?
So you're saying we shouldn't put much stock into what she just said?
She probably just put on that performance to save face. As for the truth, it's unlikely that she actually has any idea. However, please be assured that I will continue to investigate this case in a personal capacity. Just as I promised, if the judgment has been incorrect, we will do our utmost to clear his name.
You don't need to do that. He's a bad person.
Even though we feel pretty badly for him, we'll take your word for it for now. After all, he's done plenty of bad stuff. So he should have known he'd go to prison someday, right?
I know, right? Like, why would we want to help a Fatui Harbinger? Like, if I was going to help any Fatui Harbinger, I would have helped Signora. Shame she's never going to be a playable character. Well, I don't want to say never, but not with those melons.
Hey, what are you doing? Quick, stop him!
Seriously, you couldn't have handcuffed him?
Traveler! Hey! Traveler!
Yes, sweetheart, you called for me?
Marcel! What are you doing over here?
Stop resisting arrest! Cease, or we'll add another charge to the list.
I don't think he's actually that bad of a person.
No, wait! I just want to ask the Traveler something. I'm not looking to run away. Please, just let me ask this one small thing.
Go on.
Thank you. I was being led away when I finally realized something. Where did you first hear the name Vacher? I erased all records of that name. So, unless...
Are you still trying to prove your innocence? Give it up. You've already been convicted.
Really? You did? You're sure? You met her?
How did you manage
But
to do it?
how could that
It was
be?
around the
How did you manage to do it?
It was around the Fountain of Lucine.
The Fountain of Lucine? Then
she's been so close.
Then
to me
she's
all
been so
along.
close to me all along. And I just never...
You look crazy.
Please give me a chance to talk to her again. Just let the Traveler take me to the fountain to see her one last time. This is the last...
What? Give an inch and you want to take a mile? Do you think serial killers get to make requests like that?
Just like that.
Paimon agrees. Why should we give him what he wants when he's only done a ton of super terrible things?
I know,
This request, is it worth as much to you as your life?
Of course! Wait, no.
Humans, will they betray the instinct to live just to satisfy spiritual needs? Very well.
Curious.
I will grant your request.
What?
Your Honor, I fear that...
I will go with him. You do not need to worry about any escape.
In that case, I shall leave him in your most capable hands, Chief Justice.
Thank you. Thank you.
Bring Marcel to the Fountain Plaza. Okay, well, I guess we're gonna reunite him, even though he doesn't truly deserve it, but yeah, we're entertaining it. So, that was a lot. So confusing. So in reality, there were 4 people. There was the assassin, there was Jacques, there was Callus, and then there was Marcel. So the assassin shot Jacques and tried to shoot
Is this
Callus.
the place? You said
Callus
she's here, but what do I need to do to
tables
see
on
her?
Him, shot him, and then Marcel back, and then Marcel killed the assassin. Okay, back then I drank water from the primordial sea.
Yeah, and even Paimon could hear her after drinking that thing. Didn't you just drink a lot of it on the stage as well? Oh, and
Vacher.
Ah!
Yes, that's it. So you heard it too.
Vignere, it's me!
Vacher. Vacher.
I'm here! I'm here! Where are you, Vignere?
You're not coming
I'm
for
coming
her.
for you. I'm finally here for you.
No, please, no, don't let him get away. Seriously, I knew this would be more than just
Vacher, is that you? It's me, Vacher! Vacher!
Where is he?
Vacher, why did you come? Didn't I say? You don't need to look for me. You look a lot older than I remember. How long has it been?
Why was she calling out for him then?
It's been more than 20 years. I've suffered for over 20 years since the day you left. All this time, only the thought of bringing you back has kept me alive. Nothing else. I must be dreaming. Who would have thought I'd get the chance to tell you all of my feelings like this? Vacher, you are my everything. I really don't know how I could live without you.
But Vacher, if you ask me, this world would be better off without you.
Get wrecked.
What are you saying?
If not for you, I would have finished my law degree and probably become a top-tier attorney one day.
Cleaning my fork. I did not wash it all that well.
If not for you, I would have continued to pursue my love of the arts, and my works would have been displayed in the Palais Mermonia itself. If not for you, I would at least have been able to take care of my mother. And she would not have grown old and died alone, with nothing but the tears on her cheeks. It's all because of your selfishness, Vacher. It's all because of you.
See? What was I saying before, though?
Wait, you are not Vacher. Who are you?
You're right. I am not Vacher. I am
the sacrifices.
The sacrifices. Every woman who died by your hand, as our bodies dissolved, our consciousnesses flowed back to the primordial sea. Our thoughts circulated endlessly within the primordial sea, and we were no longer individuals, but we became one, just as streams of water come together in the sea. I'm Cressy. I'm Lemony. I'm Azine. The only one I am not is Vacher.
Why? But then, where is Vacher?
She doesn't want to see you anymore. Every tendril of her consciousness is avoiding you. This is what you get for your selfishness. Your selfishness robbed us of our lives and our futures. You said time and time again that you'd do any and everything for her. But did you ever consider whether she'd want to see you do the things that you did? If she would
I...
Go to jail.
You are a liar, a heartless murderer, and a cowardly narcissist. The only thing you are not is Vacher's beloved. From the moment your first victim died and her consciousness merged with Vacher's, she has had nothing but pure hatred for you.
Tell him. I also want to learn Marcel here from the very
No! Yeah! She can't hate me. Let me see her. Please! Have mercy!
Never.
You still don't understand. When I said don't look for me, that came from the real Vacher. She really doesn't want to see you anymore. But on top of that, she also said that because it's her final drop of pity for you. She said that because she knew that if you did come here, we will show no mercy to you.
Vacher.
Vacher? Vacher. 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 Drown.
Later they'll find that the culprit appeared to have lost his soul. Okay, I'll just quickly. The weather's been so nice lately. I'm just looking outside. It's all sunny and beautiful. That's probably where I got the motivation to do this. to complete the rest of this
Finally, we have some time to do shopping. Gosh, it's really been a long time since we've been able to relax.
Shopping is stressful in its own way.
Well met, partner. I knew something great was going to happen when I woke up in such a good mood today.
Even this weather can't put a damper on the demoiselle's mood.
It's a pleasure to see you both again.
Sorry, I assumed you were both evil.
Hey, Navia! It's been a few days. Paimon's already started to miss you.
Oh, now that I believe. I'm easy to work with and always bring home the bacon. Who wouldn't treasure having a partner like me?
Sounds like you're really...
It's just been one thing after the other. I've been making non-stop trips between Poisson and the court since then. Everyone from Spina di Rosula organized a memorial for my father. We never held a memorial when he first died, since everyone knew that even if we held one back then, no one was going to come. This time, though, everyone in Poisson, and even many people from the court, all attended.
So his name's definitely been...
It's been the dearest wish of Demoiselle all along.
That blasted stubborn fool. I was right to put my faith in him. I'm so glad I didn't give up on the case all those years ago.
Things turned out quite as well.
Oh, by the way, I ran into Charlotte just after I left the memorial service. Well, maybe it'd be more accurate to say I knew she would be there, and there was no way she'd just let me go.
Huh? So you know Charlotte too? The Charlotte? Journalist from the Steamboat?
Yeah, way back when I first became the president of the Spina di Rosula, she was all over me. Wouldn't take no for an answer. I believe the story was called The True Heart of Darkness, Secret Tales of the Yellow Rose. To be fair, though, it was a really flattering feature. So, we've been on pretty good terms ever since. She was trying to lean on our friendship to...
Oh yeah, she told us about that. She's always been super interested in that.
Anyway, I told her to make sure that when she writes about you guys entering the opera house with the critical evidence, that you both sound really cool.
Now that's another thing to look forward to. We trust Charlotte's skills with a pen for sure.
Oh, and in other news, I also took Clorand out for a meal.
Oh, are you two on better terms now?
While you were investigating Vacher's headquarters, Clorand gave testimony on my father's behalf. It was thanks to her that we were able to turn the tide. I wanted to thank her. I mean, there's also no point in being awkward all the time, so we took the chance to reconcile with each other.
Oh, that's great! Paimon also thought Clorand would...
Anyway, now that the case has finally been solved, perhaps it will slowly begin to fade from the public consciousness. Oh, actually, there's still one last thing.
What is it?
I should pay a visit to my father's grave, and tell him the truth of what happened, as well as how it all ended. And on top of that, just how much people still look up to him, to this day.
You're not gonna invite us out for a banquet?
Indeed.
Can I come too?
We want to go
Really?
too! We also think Callus is a really admirable person.
I think that's the kind of thing she should do by herself.
Sure thing. I'd like you two to share the moment with me.
And in that case, everyone, let's be off.
Yeah, you're right.
So, what's going on with the child? Is he still in jail?
This is where my father's grave is.
To be perfectly honest.
To be perfectly honest.
Huh? There's someone there already. Wait. That figure. It can't be... Isn't that Neuvillette? Why would the Chief Justice be here? Huh? Navia?
My apologies. I should have asked before.
Don't say that.
Sorry about that.
Oh, I was trying to... I wanted to show my father how much I've grown. But still, I doubt I've grown to the point...
In that case, I will...
You really could use some pointers on understanding human emotions, Monsieur Neuvillette. In any case, why did you come to Poisson?
Well, ever since that day, I've been turning a question over and over in my head. Just what is justice anyway? There was once a time when I didn't want to believe that there could be anything more important to humans than life itself. Oh, rather than that, it's probably more truthful to say I didn't believe humans were capable of resisting the most basic instinct of living things. That they could rebel against their own nature, or consider certain things to be more important than their own lives. Which is also why I didn't stop your father from beginning that fateful duel. I believed that a truly innocent man would never throw away his life like that. That there was nothing, should have been nothing more important than one's own continued survival. But Mr. Callus proved me utterly and decisively wrong. If not for his sacrifice, the serial disappearances case would have remained unsolved to this day. Mr. Callus made the choice he did for his daughter, for his associates, and for many people completely unrelated to him. And in the end, from a certain perspective, one could say that he did it all for the sake of justice. A justice that's higher than life itself. So, you asked me why I came here. I just wanted to say my apologies to Mr. Callus in person. I should have noticed all of this much sooner.
Damn, this Archon Quest is amazing.
This regret has filled me with a sadness that has haunted me for days. That high and mighty chair in the opera epiclese indeed insulates one from many important things. Spina di Rosula, thank you so much for your hard work and perseverance.
I'm sorry for being mad at you before.
Yeah, that's
So, you're actually one of those types that's cold on the outside, but pretty thoughtful on the inside, huh? That reminds me of Silver. One of my guys.
Sorry about that.
Didn't I just say...
Ah, so Navia and Neuvillette seem to have made... Let's not disturb them for now.
You also pay your respect to Callus.
Paimon's never... Huh? Oh, Paimon didn't know that was a thing. But Paimon doesn't know what she would do if she can't fly.
That's the thing that always makes me uncomfortable. Is like if somebody's having a bad day, or you know they recently lost somebody. Like, what do you say to them that could help
Paimon
them?
hopes Miss Navia won't be too mad.
Like, they're in a sensitive spot.
Anyway, Neuvillette is still standing around there.
And you don't feel like you can joke with them, or else you know they might blow up at you. And if you say something like, "Oh, condolences," they could still be mad at you for that. There's not really much you can say. You know, even when I was at work and people would ask me to sign a card and to sign a card for another coworker because they recently lost a loved one, I would just be like,
it's you two. Did Miss Navia invite you to come pay your respects to her father?
I just tell them to write, "Oh, I hope you're comforted by the memories you shared with each other." But yeah, I just don't know what to say. So uncomfortable.
So we just followed her here.
I see. Then is there something that I can help you with?
Sure.
Well, it's pretty hard to run into you like this since you're usually super busy. So we figured we could...
Please feel free.
Feel free.
Though outsiders, you helped us solve one of the greatest mysteries in Fontaine, and it would be my pleasure to return the favor.
About the water... nah, I don't care about that. About the prophecy that has been circling around...
That the sea levels will rise and everyone will be dissolved in water, leaving Farina crying alone on her throne, but the sins of the people will be finally washed away for good. Does that appropriately summarize the version you've heard?
That's right! It was Linny that told us back then. And that about covers all the main points.
Yes, up to the present, I think we reached a point where we have no choice but to confront this prophecy directly. Rumors have it that this prophecy is rooted in the last words the former Hydro Archon left to the world before she passed away.
A prophecy? Of the former Hydro Archon? Wow. This is the first time that we've ever heard of it.
Two parts of the prophecy have already proven correct. The rising sea levels and the ability of the people of Fontaine to be dissolved. We should be more vigilant and stay on the watch for further signs.
Yep.
Speaking of the prophecy, Farina has also always taken it quite seriously. Indeed, she has been collecting information and intelligence from across Tevat for this purpose. If the rumors were true, then perhaps this prophecy is the conundrum left to Farina by her predecessor.
But with Farina being the way she is, can we really trust her to solve it?
I know, right?
Is there anything else you'd like to...
Yeah, about Child.
My apologies. My investigation has... However, I still believe the judgment of the For many years, I have been quite aware that the Oratrice does not simply mechanically repeat the verdict that I give on each case. As a divinely created mechanism, the people's unified faith in the concept of justice is integrated into it. Not only can it produce the incredible power of indemnitium, but it likely also possesses other traits, such as self-awareness. Which is all to say, I have been prepared for a situation like this for a long time.
So when Lenny told us that he heard a human voice from the room where the Oratrice's core is stored...
I was not aware such a thing had occurred. Perhaps that could serve to prove my conjecture. I will add that to the list of items to investigate. In any case, I am inclined to believe that the Oratrice does have a methodology all its own. We just do not have enough information. Based on Farina's reaction, I doubt even she had any idea what was going on.
She doesn't.
She managed to bluff her way through it, though. Their time-tested twin tricks of bravado and drama. While we do intend to get to the bottom of this, for now, we regret to say that the Fatui Harbinger will just have to bide his time in the fortress of Meripede. If we did incorrectly convict him of crimes he did not commit, we will most certainly compensate him to the fullest extent allowed by the law.
Oh my god, he's gonna ask for the Gnosis.
If you ask Paimon, the only compensation he'll want is a no-holds-barred fight with you.
Is there anything else you'd like to ask me about?
No, I don't care about the primordial
Your
water,
sibling.
but how about my sibling?
Another blonde-haired traveler. I'm sorry, but I've never seen anyone who matches that description. If she ever stepped foot in Fontaine, I'm sure she followed our laws to the letter, and had no reason to appear on the stage of the opera Epiclese. Is there anything else?
Please, no. Okay, fine.
So, at court, the bad guys referred to that special water as water from the primordial sea,
What is it really?
Truthfully, that name is already quite accurate. I can only surmise that Vacher and his ilk only learned of its nature and existence after extensive research. There used to be a special sea on the surface of this planet. The nature of its seawater was rather different from that of the sea we know today. Most of Tevat's life forms were first born in that special sea. You could say it nurtured much of the life on this planet.
Huh. So it really was where everything began. It makes sense to call it primordial then.
But today, the primordial sea no longer exists on the planet's surface. What Vacher discovered must have been some kind of special case, or a remnant from a truly ancient age.
Huh. So that's how it is. Oh, you really know everything, Monsieur Neuvillette. But if that's the case, then why would people...
Indeed. Why would the primordial sea, which was known to engender and nurture life, suddenly reverse itself and devour life instead? To be frank, that also doesn't match my understanding of this world and its laws. There must still be some unknown secrets around the people of this land.
It only affects Fontaine.
Is there anything else?
Nope, we're good.
Very well. It will soon be time for me to leave.
You really are super...
Crime and villainy do not have the day off.
Alright. Huh? Paimon just noticed that the rain has stopped.
Beautiful. Ah, okay, so that's the end of Act 2 as light falls with...